Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also smash on that subscribe button. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so it's now official. They said the contract signed, finally over and done with. Can always never be too sure with the Conor McGregor fight coming up, but it looks like January 23rd. Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier will be squaring off in the rematch. This is a great fight. I'm glad that it got signed. Looks awesome for the lightweight division. Great for both individual fighters. So we haven't seen Conor McGregor that much, but he is still considered a top guy in the division. So he comes right back, comes in against Dustin Poirier, who's just recently challenged Khabib for the belt. And even though he lost, he's been at the top of the division for a long time. Right after that, came back, beat Dan Hooker to maintain his spot at the top of the lightweight division. So for McGregor to come right back in, beat him, puts him in an awesome spot to challenge for the belt. Whether Khabib comes back or not, puts McGregor in a great spot. And Dustin Poirier, exact same situation on his hand. He'd been at the top of the division for a while, just challenged for the belt and lost, but McGregor is considered a top guy. Even though he hasn't fought at 155 for a while, he's still considered a top guy. So to get a win against Dan Hooker, and then a win against Conor McGregor, it puts him in an awesome position to either A, challenge for the belt if Khabib, another rematch against Khabib, should he say, and come back to fight, or if Khabib ends up retiring and the belt's vacant, to be in on that fight for. So both guys put themselves in an awesome position, and it's a great fight for the fans, great fight for the lightweight division to kind of hash out who's who at the very top and who starts to deserve that next nod for a shot at the title. And then on top of it, it's a rematch. And rematches always offer intrigue. Now, it's funny because if you looked at a rematch like this, where in the first fight, it was so decisive, early knockout, you would think we really have no need for a rematch. Those aren't the type of rematches we typically go for. It's not ones either guys typically want, the promotion doesn't. It's just not something that you see happen. But this one is different. This one's a little funny. Typically, when I think of rematches where a guy got knocked out in the first fight, I think of the age-old adage. When you knock a man out, you knock him out quicker in the rematch. It's an old saying in boxing, been around for a long time, and it's been around for a long time for a reason. And it's because it holds true more often than not. And it's because you got the psychological advantage over your opponent once you've knocked him out. He knows that you can hurt him. He knows you can put him down. So in the rematch, should you hurt him again, that's right there. He clicks right to it. He goes with those old feelings. It's also the fact that you know that you can hurt him. You know that you've landed those punches and you're just waiting for it to get off. You feel that it's just a matter of time before you get in there and you can do it again. And then it's also understanding how you did it the first time. Did you have to set this up? Did you land the right hand? Did you work this specific angle? So once you knock a guy out, you come in, you've got a lot of advantages typically going into that rematch. But it doesn't hold true 100% of the time, which is part of what makes this one so interesting, is that both of these guys have progressed very far since that first fight. And that's not even to mention the fact that the first fight was at 145 pounds. Now, Dustin Poirier has come out and said in no uncertain terms that cut one down to 145 was brutal. It was way too much on him. He was weight drained coming into those fights. He did not recover 100%, so it affected his performance. It affected his chin, all kinds of things. And I believe him. A lot of times fighters will say stuff. Sometimes they'll just say it to try to get it out there. Sometimes they'll say it and they really believe it to make themselves believe it, but you can't really see it that much. But this is something that I can see. I can see that since moving up to 145, Poirier appears to be way more durable. He appears to be way stronger. This is his natural weight class. This is where he's supposed to be. And once he moved up, he started doing a lot better. Remember that a guillotine that he got Khabib in? That was tight. That was the most trouble that we've ever seen Khabib in as far as a submission is concerned. That was tight on there. Starts working his boxing a lot more since he moved down there with Dia Davis. His hands are good now. He's got a good check counter right hook. He's got a good jab. He's got a solid left hand that he knows how to land. Gets it in there, fires it straight, quick. Guys don't see it coming. Really good power. He can hurt him with it. And then on the other hand, you've got Conor McGregor. Now, we all know how good of a striker he is, world class, particularly with that left hand. He goes in there, he gets that thing off. He knows how to shoot it. He knows how to work angles and timing and distance. He hits guys with it, he hurt him. You know who knows? Dustin Poirier knows, because Dustin Poirier got smoked with that left hand in the past. So Conor McGregor has had that before, and he still has it. And I believe his skills have continued to progress. He has a higher fight IQ than he did then. He's more composed. I believe his body's filled out more and he's a little bit stronger. He's better at 155 pounds than he was at 145. He used to look so drained coming in there. Cheekbones all, his cheeks all sunken in, cheekbones all very prominent and everything from all the weight being drained. It was super obvious that he wasn't meant to be there, and that his last fight, when he was just going to get the belt, once he fought Aldo, boom, and then he jumps up. So this fight at this higher weight is better for him too. But all of the skills that he possesses now, he had them then. I believe he's continued to refine them. And he understands, the thing about it is his understanding of timing and distance and angles and everything. He knows how to set that left hand up perfectly. He fires it in there. It's so quick. It's so accurate. I've seen him, guys try to turn and he gets it in over their shoulder. He just knows how to get those shots off. And he's got that power, that touch of death, as Firas Zahabi would call it, that touch of death type power, where he just flatlines guys with it. Okay? But here's the thing. With all of that being said, you go, well, why aren't we just automatically going with McGregor in this rematch? And we're not automatically going with him. This is just a first thoughts video. I'm not making a prediction on it. But here's the thing. He's only fought 3 times in the last 4 years. By the time this fight happens in January, he'll have only fought 3 times in the last 4 years. And his last fight was against Donald Cerrone at 170. We only saw him out there for a very short period of time. Yeah, sure, he looked good. He got the stoppage and everything. But it's an old Donald Cerrone. He was at 170 pounds. Not his most impressive performance. Yeah, he looked good. But how's he going to look against Dustin Poirier, world-class performer, at 155 pounds? You got to be on point all the time against a guy like that. And when you only fight 3 times in 4 years, there's an old saying that Freddie Roach, the boxing trainer for Manny Pacquiao. Freddie Roach used to say, you can't be a part-time fighter and be world-class. It doesn't work like that. There's just way too much involved. There's way too much going on. You constantly have to be on point. Ring rust is a real thing. Now, when you're younger, you can get away with it a lot of times. You can kind of come in, you can pick and choose your fights a little bit. Once you get to that certain stage and you want to start to get paid a little, guys, instead of fighting 3-4 times a year, they fight 2 times a year. Maybe if they get an injury, they push one back a little bit, and they can still kind of pull it off a little bit. They've got the youth, the athleticism, the skill on their side. They're still hungry. But Conor McGregor's at a different point in his life now. He's got a lot more things going on. He's got the whiskey. Who knows what else? Huge ventures, I'm sure, with his business ventures and getting everything going. I'm sure the reason that he hasn't been so active is because he's been getting pulled in multiple directions. A fighting career is short. You should build things going on outside of the fight game for when you retire. However, the one caveat to that is, if you allow it to take too much time from your career when you're currently fighting, you can start to decline before you should. Because fighting is something that you constantly have to keep your skills sharp, you constantly have to work for, you constantly have to be on top of. And only fighting 3 times in the last 4 years is something that it'll be interesting to see how he looks when he comes out there, especially if he doesn't get Poirier out of there early and Poirier starts to see some success. He turns up the heat a little bit. McGregor finds himself maybe in a spot that he didn't think he was going to find himself in, whether he gets hurt, gets cut, gets taken down, and gets held there and beat up a little bit. Fight's going to be very interesting. But whoever comes out the winner on this one is going to be in an awesome spot for the lightweight division. Can't wait to see what happens January 23rd. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who's going to be able to come out with their hand raised on this one?